So we often get emails from clients with questions about tools like Google PageSpeed. First and foremost, please always feel free to reach out if you're concerned about the speed of your site. Sometimes there are some simple adjustments that we can do to make some tweaks to images or video, usually removing or reducing some, that can actually improve the speed of your website. However, when it comes to site speed tests, there are a couple of things to keep in mind because these are often misleading and needlessly alarming. So here's a couple of things to consider when you're taking account the speed of your site or using any kind of these online speed test tools. Simply put, the speed of your site is how long it takes for a web page to load. So you type the URL into the browser, you hit enter, and then the whole process for pinging the servers, getting the data back, rendering it on the browser, that's about how long we think of for a page load time. Now, different elements of your site will load at different speeds, which can skew the site speed scores or make the site appear to load quickly when it's not completely done. Images, videos, third-party chat or online booking widgets, they'll definitely take longer to load than text. But there's several different streams, sending data back and forth. So your website may load quickly and then the chat widget may load at the very end. In fact, there's deliberate strategies that we use when building websites to try to maximize the apparent speed of a site to a user while still loading all of the assets that we need for the client's site. Another thing you might notice is that your site speed is lower on mobile. This is almost always the case. Mobile, usually slower than whatever you get on Wi-Fi or your desktop. But Google's one is particularly egregious. They're still making the assumption that all users are on 3G, which is crazy. Less than 5% of users in the United States are on 3G, phones, and practically irrelevant. I don't know why they do this, but they do. So how important is this page speed score? Since 2018, Google has made it clear that the speed of your site is a ranking factor, but they've never told how much weight it carries. And you get a lot of conflicting information about this because all the SEO people are really just guessing. So many of the techniques we use to improve speed are just detrimental to the user experience. For example, we can remove all the pictures and video on a site. That will make it faster. But who wants that? It's like, having a car that you want to go faster, so we take out all the back seats. Well, that's great if we're going to the racetrack, but if our goal is to carry passengers, to the airport back and forth very quickly, they're not going to have a good time. And, the overall goal here is to maximize quality patients for your practice, not have a super high page score. At the end of the day, this is one of many factors that Google is taking into account, and we, as a company that does a lot of SEO, are also taking into account. We just did this in Denver. If you look for Denver dentist right now, the top 3 sites had a mobile speed score when we calculated it at 49, 50, and 43. These would normally be, failing grades. But despite this, they're in spots 1, 2, 3. So, try this in your area too. I think you'll find similar things. You usually have to run the page speed scores. I usually do it 5 times and take the average because every time you run it, you get a different score. It's not very reliable. But this quick test does show us that the mobile site speed score is not a primary ranking factor for your website, but it instead is one of many minor ranking factors that influence how you rank with Google and other search engines. In addition to looking at the performance for page speed scores, if you go to pagespeed.web.dev, also look at the tab for the SEO score. This is much more important. And there's several different factors that are analyzed here, and they give you an SEO score for best practices. In our view, this is more reliable and is something that we look at a lot more closely. You can always trust your own eyes too. At the end of the day, if you log onto your website and load it, and it loads in about a second or 2 or maybe less, but Google PageSpeed is telling you that it takes 14 seconds, you don't have to believe it for something that is demonstrably not true. I think it'll be in your experience that sites with low page speed scores still rank highly. It's certainly been our experience. And while we do want to take a look at the page speed scores, sometimes it gives us tips for unoptimized images or videos that we could improve a little bit. This won't make or break your SEO campaign. Hopefully this was a useful video for you. If you still have any concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help and answer any questions you might have. Thanks again for your time.